Hi Sagittarius, welcome back to the Astrology 33 channel. This is your mid-April 2025 love reading. Thank you to those of you who have liked, viewed, shared, and subscribed to the channel. I appreciate all of that. For those of you new to the channel, as far as what we have from us, it's what I call the bridge and gap spread, and the way it works is we'll get the past, present, future energies between you and the main love interest. Once we get through all that, we'll pull some oracle cards as well with some additional insight. That's where the bridge and the gap dynamic comes into play. As far as the decks being used, on the left side we have the Lover's Path Tarot, on the right side we have the Romantic Tarot. Also keep in mind it's a general reading, so I'm going to be referring to the cards on the left as your energy and the cards on the right as the other person's. If you feel that's the way around in your situation, then definitely trust that. Alright, so with all that out of the way, we'll get started. Past energy on your side, we have Sacrifice. So this is the equivalent of the Hangman in traditional tarot. And what this could ultimately be saying is that for a lot of you, you might have felt like you had to give up something in order to be in a connection with this person. So maybe you feel like, for example, you were putting your goals to the side to give more energy to this connection, things along those lines there. So it might have felt like being with this person kept you stuck in some other area of life. Past energy on their side, we have the Three of Wands. So Aries energy here. If we look at the artwork, you might have felt like maybe that was part of the issue, right? You might have felt like, okay, you might have been putting in work toward the connection, trying to take it more seriously, whereas for this person, you might have just realized that maybe they just like the tension in general, right? So even if you were doing your fair share of work within the connection, it might have felt like that wasn't enough for this person, right? Where they might have still, you might have still noticed them flirting with people, things along those lines there. You might have just came to the realization that, okay, no matter how much energy you would put toward them, it probably wouldn't be enough, right? Present energy on your side, we have Tradition. This is the equivalent of the Hierophant in traditional tarot. And with this deck in particular, we do see the names Romeo and Juliet. So maybe there's something about the connection that's actually far from traditional, right? Maybe there's something a little bit controversial around the connection, but yet you still feel yourself drawn to the connection, right? So it could just be one of those things where even if you did walk away from the connection in the past, now in the present you might still be thinking to yourself, oh, you know what, something about this still makes you want to give it a shot. And given that this is Taurus energy, you could just be saying that you might be feeling that, especially as we start to move into Taurus season. Present energy on their side, we have the World. So yeah, so to me this actually shows that they are willing to put in the work. They are willing to actually take the connection seriously. So for some of you, this might have just been a bit of a misunderstanding. So especially if this was more recently where this misunderstanding took place, given that we just wrapped up a Mercury retrograde and we're in that post retrograde period now, and then we also have Venus retrograde wrapping up right now, and then there's going to be the post shadow period for that as well. So it could have just been cross signals to where, you know, you didn't realize that this person actually did take the connection more seriously than it might have seemed. All right, and future energy on your side, we have Wisdom. So this is the equivalent of the High Priestess. So to me, this says that for a lot of you, even though you might start to feel like you would like to get things off the ground and take it more seriously with this person, it could just be saying that ultimately for a lot of you, you might not directly communicate that, right? So for some of you, you might just be trying to feel out the situation and see, like, hey, are they still available, right? Things along those lines there, rather than directly communicating to them. Because if we look at the artwork there, she has her back turned to this person, and we see the sword there, which to me represents communication in this regard, right? So it could just be saying that intuitively you're trying to figure out where they're at right now, rather than directly communicate. All right, and future energy on their side, we have the Two of Cups. So yeah, ultimately, again, like I said, it looks like they do actually take the connection seriously, and they would like to have a committed connection with you. We do see some spilled beverage there, so yeah, it could just be saying that this is one of those things where maybe it did take you guys a while to get there, right? Maybe it was a bit of a bumpy ride, but ultimately it looks like they would like to move the connection forward. All right, bottom of the deck on your side, we have the Five of Coins. So this is Taurus energy here. So yeah, for some of you, it could just be saying that ultimately, going back to what we were saying with the sacrifice energy, you might have felt like you were doing the heavy lifting in the connection, and then you might have just felt like this person wasn't really doing their fair share. So you might have felt like you were really just doing all of the heavy lifting alone in the connection in the past. All right, and bottom of the deck on their side, we have the Queen of Cups, Cancerian energy here. So yeah, it could just be saying that ultimately we see them taking the mask off there, right? So it could just be saying that ultimately they might have been holding back the depth of their feelings for you in the past for whatever reason, and now maybe because you did walk away in the past, now they actually do want to be more open and real with you and put in more effort toward the connection. But we'll see what the Oracle cards add to the mix. First, we'll see what we get from the messages of Oracle card deck. I'm just going to give this a few shuffles. And what I'm going to do is I'll actually just cut the deck and pull a card. Take this card and get this out of the way. And next I'll do the same thing with the Wisdom Oracle deck. So I'll just give this a few shuffles. Okay, and I'll cut this deck, pull this card. I'll get this out of the way and we'll take a look at that Messages of Love card first. Alright, we have Acceptance. It says everything happens for a reason. So yeah, like I said, it looks like ultimately, especially seeing the energy that the two of you are giving off in the present, could just be saying that, like I said, for some of you, it might have been more of a misunderstanding in the past. To be fair, it looks like they might have had more of a role in that misunderstanding because, like I said, it seems like they might have been holding back the level of feelings that they had for you in the past. But that's what I see with that. And then we have from the Wisdom Oracle, Chop Wood. There's the artwork. The number is 42. And we'll see what this has to say. All right, the relationship message says nothing is as important right now as just doing what you need to do day to day. Let your heart remember that not everything has to be hard, won, passionate, or even obviously meaningful. Relationships and friendships go through lulls when the everyday tasks are at the center of awareness. That is perfect now. Hold hands, wash dishes, make a fire, read a book, share meals, say nothing, stare into space, pick up socks, tell a dumb joke, and leave space to breathe. The work of your relationship right now is very simple. Just to be present. Funny how it takes work to just be. All is well, really. So yeah, could just be saying that maybe if you were putting some undue pressure on yourself, right? So like I said, maybe you in the past you felt like you were doing a lot of the heavy lifting in the connection. To me, the message in that context would just be saying, try to take things a little bit lighter and just go with the flow a little bit more, and things will just start to come together on their own in that regard. So hope it ever resonated with you guys. We'll wrap up there, and I'll see you all next month. All right, bye.